Hello team players! So if you're watching this video, you're probably a human. But shout out to all of my dog and cat viewers out there. Humans are the simplest ancestry to understand and play, but they're also the most versatile and a great teamwork option for any class. So in today's video, I'm going to be covering everything that the Pathfinder 2e human gets automatically, as well as every single feat you can choose from as you level up. Let's dive in. So humans start off pretty basic. 8 ancestry hit points, average. Which remember guys, that gets added to our class hit points. So if we're a human fighter with a 2 modifier for constitution, then we start off with 20 hit points. 25 move speed, that's pretty average. But what sets humans apart to start off with is their attribute boosts. They start off with 2 free boosts. Now remember, you can't boost the same attribute more than once in this step. However, these attribute boosts are one of the reasons why humans are so versatile. Because of these attribute boosts, they can play any class just fine. Most ancestries have 3 boosts, 2 of which are fixed, and a flaw. This means while any ancestor can play any class, humans are on a whole nother level. They can always boost their class's main attribute, and then boost whatever they want. That combined with their feats makes humans, in my opinion, the best ancestry in the remaster so far. But that's just my opinion. For languages, they get common plus 1 language in addition to languages equal to their intelligence modifier. This ends up being the same amount of languages that other ancestries get. But the difference is humans get to pick their second language other than common, which again makes them pretty versatile. But the big change in the remaster is that humans used to have 5 different heritages. That has been knocked down to 2. They have completely removed the Winter Touch human, which honestly is okay because nobody took that heritage anyway. And half-orc and half-elf are now versatile heritages that you can take with any ancestry. That means we're down to 2 heritages for humans. First up is the skilled heritage. Skilled humans get training in 1 extra skill, and at 5th level they become an expert in that skill. This is just 2 free skill increases, which is pretty nice. But unfortunately, if you're playing a human, you're probably picking the second one, which is the versatile human. This one gives you an extra general feat that you qualify for, in addition to the 5 you normally get as you level up. General feats are some of the best feats in the game, and anyone can take them. So getting an extra one is pretty nice. But if you don't know what I mean by expert, or you want a video on general feats, I did a video on both of those right here. So humans, like every other ancestry, get an ancestry feat at 1st, 5th, 9th, 13th, and 17th. So I'm going to start with 1st level human feats. First up we have Adapted Cantrip. You must be a spellcaster to take this feat. With this feat, you choose a cantrip from a magical tradition other than your own. If you prepare spells, then you can choose that spell when you prepare spells. But if you have a spell repertoire, you must select that cantrip as one of your cantrips known. You can cast that spell as a spell of your class's tradition. Don't worry, I will cover spellcasting in another video. But there are plenty of spells that are unique to each tradition, especially on the primal list. This feat gives you access to a cantrip on those lists, even if you aren't that type of spellcaster. Next is one of my favorite human feats of all time, Cooperative Nature. This feat gives you a +4 bonus to aid checks. This and another feat that I'm going to cover later in this video are one of the reasons why humans are so good at teamwork. Especially with the new rules for aid, this makes aid pretty much guaranteed. Especially if you're using your best skill. If you want to learn more about the aid reaction, I also did a video on that recently that you can check out right here. Next, you can pick up another general feat if you take general training. Again, general feats can be very powerful. So taking this with a versatile heritage human makes this all the more powerful. Unfortunately, the next one's pretty situational. Haughty obstinacy allows you to, if you succeed on a saving throw against an effect that would directly control your actions, you get a critical success instead. In addition, if a creature tries to coerce you using intimidation and they fail, they get a critical failure instead, so they can't coerce you for 1 week. I'll cover intimidation in another video. Next, we have one of the best feats I'll cover in this video with Natural Ambition. It's simple but powerful. It gives you an extra first level class feats. If you're coming from 5e, think of class feats as Warlock invocations. So yeah, simple but very powerful. Next, Natural Skill gives you training in 2 skills of your choice. Great with the skilled human heritage, especially if you're not a rogue. And the last first level feat for humans in this remaster book anyway is Unconventional Weaponry. With this feat, you choose a simple or martial uncommon weapon that has a trait associated with an ancestry or is common to another culture. You gain access to that weapon and you treat it as a simple weapon for the purposes of proficiency. If you're trained in all martial weapons, you can choose an advanced weapon for this instead. If you do, you treat it as a martial weapon for the purposes of proficiency. This is a really cool feat because it allows you to use really cool weapons that you normally wouldn't have access to. We've got 3 feats for level 5, starting with Adaptive Adept. This requires Adaptive Adept and the ability to cast 3rd rank spells. You choose another cantrip or a 1st rank spell from the same tradition that you chose for Adapted Cantrip. You gain the ability to cast that spell. This follows the same rules as Adapted Cantrip. But if you choose a 1st rank spell, you don't gain access to heightened versions of that spell. So you can't prepare that spell in higher level spell slots or select it as a signature spell. This is good for the same reason that Adapted Cantrip is. An extra spell from another tradition is always welcome. With Clever Improviser, you gain the Untrained Improvisation general feat. In addition, unlike the normal version of the feat, you can attempt skill actions that would normally require you to be trained even though you're untrained. And finally, for level 5, we have Sense Allies, which is honestly a pretty situational feat. Willing allies that you are aware of within 60 feet that would otherwise be undetected to you are hidden to you instead. Also, the flat check to target willing allies that are hidden from you is 5 rather than 11. I would only take this one if your team strategy involves darkness or hiding somehow. Otherwise, this one just isn't worth it. With Cooperative Soul, as long as we're an expert in the skill we're aiding, then we can no longer fail or critically fail on aid checks, making aid much more viable on skills. This feat is flat out amazing on rogues, as rogues can become expert in skills very quickly. Moving on, we have Group Aid, allowing us to aid more than one ally with a skill check as long as it doesn't have the attack trait. However, whatever we did to prepare to aid the first ally must also apply to all subsequent allies. So if we aided an ally in scaling a wall, we could keep that same position to aid other allies. With Hardy Traveler, both of our bulk limits increase by 1, and our overland travel speed increases by 10 feet. So we can carry more and travel faster during exploration. If you're in an exploration-heavy campaign, this is an excellent one to pick up. If we combine this next feat, called Incredible Improvisation, with Clever Improviser that I covered earlier, we can essentially become an expert in a skill that we're untrained in once a day, making this a great feat for anybody who doesn't have many skills. And with multi-talented, we gain a second level multi-class dedication feat, even if we couldn't normally take one because we don't have enough feats from an archetype. In addition, if we have the half-elf versatile heritage, we no longer need to meet the attribute modifier prerequisite for this feat. If you want to multi-class a lot, this is the feat for you. Otherwise, it's probably not worth it. At level 13, with advanced general training, we can select any general feat that is 7th level or lower. Whereas with general training, we can only pick a 1st level general feat. This one is situational because there's not a whole lot of general feats above level 1 that are any good. With Bounce Back, if we lose a dying condition, we can spend a free action to not increase our wounded condition once a day. Which with the new dying rules, helps a lot. I think my next video is going to be covering the new dying rules. We got 2 feats left, starting with Stubborn Persistence. If you would become fatigued, make a DC 17 flat check. If you succeed, you don't become fatigued. If the fatigue condition has an underlying cause, such as lack of rest, then you must make this flat check again at an interval when the GM decides. You must do this until you address the underlying cause or until you fail the flat check. Fatigued isn't that common of a condition, so this one is situational. And then we come to the only 17th level feat we have for humans as of right now, which is Heroic Presence. Another great teamwork option for humans. For one of your 3 actions per turn, you can grant 10 allies the effects of a Zealous Conviction spell of 6th rank. This gives them temporary hit points as well as a +2 bonus on their will saving throws. However, the spell automatically ends if you attempt to tell the target to do something they find repugnant. This effect has the auditory or visual trait depending on how you inspire your allies. Zealous Conviction is a great spell, and being able to essentially cast it once per day, even if you're not a spellcaster, is fantastic. And that's everything you need to know about playing a human in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Like I said earlier in this video, I think my next video is going to be covering the new death rules, which will probably be tomorrow. But if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, and don't forget to check out the Patreon page as well as the other links in the description below. If you want to learn more about how to be effective in combat in Pathfinder 2e using teamwork, you can check out this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, teamwork is vital. It helps us solve problems.